Hey everyone, this is Bola Shokumbi. I'm the founder and CEO of Clever Girl Finance, and welcome to Clever Girl Finance TV. So in this video today, I'm going to be sharing how to get your book published and also share my experience as a 2 times published author with a 3rd book coming out in the summer of 2021. Let's get into the video. So one of the questions I get asked very often is, how did I get my books published and how can I publish my own book? So like I mentioned, I have 2 books, 2 best-selling books available everywhere books are sold and also as audiobooks. And I have a 3rd book coming out in the summer of 2021. My books are on the topic of personal finance. My first book is called Clever Girl Finance, Ditch Debt, Save Money, and Build Real Wealth. And my 2nd book is called Learn How Investing Works, Grow Your Money. And I publish my books with a traditional publisher. So let's get into different types of publishing options for you if you're thinking about writing your own book. So why write a book? Why should you want to write a book? Well, it could be because of personal interest, or it could be because this has always been a dream of yours to write your own book and to describe yourself as an author. You could also be a business owner, and writing a book could help you build credibility. It could help you expand your brand. It could help you grow your audience and much more. There's a lot of reasons why you may want to write a book, and I think personally that it is a great thing to write a book because it's much more than, a podcast or a video or a blog post. It's you creating an actual body of work, and it's just a really great accomplishment if that's something you want to pursue. Whatever your reason for writing a book, you always want to keep your end reader in mind and the problem you want to help them solve, and making sure that your book is effectively helping them solve that problem. So when it comes to publishing a book, there are 2 routes: going the traditional publishing way or going the self-published way. So traditional publishing is when you pursue getting your book published with an established industry player in the publishing space. It could be a general publisher or a niche publisher, but basically they have an established name in the space, and this process begins by you submitting a manuscript. If the publisher likes your book, you will get into a contractual agreement with them. And the benefits to working with a traditional publisher is that they have the manpower and the network to help you position your book for success, to help you get your book out there to a broader market, more so than you might be able to do on your own. They also have resources to help you with editing your book and also marketing your book, like I mentioned, and getting it out there. However, not all publishers are created equal. And so when it comes to going the traditional publishing route, you want to make sure you do your research before you submit your manuscripts to different publishers. So you know how they treat their authors, you know how much effort they put into marketing books and supporting their authors, etc. However, one thing to keep in mind is that when it comes to traditional publishing, a lot of people make the assumption that the publisher is going to do everything for them and they're just going to sit back and watch the big bucks roll in. But that's not how it works. I found in my experience working with my publisher is that it is a joint collaboration. So they make the effort, they've made the effort for me to promote my book, to put it out there, PR, etc. But I've also put in a ton of effort to promote the book through the Clever Girl Finance community. And as we continue to build the company, we continue to promote the books as well. So it's a 2-sided relationship, and I work very closely with my publisher to make sure that whatever marketing that they're doing, whatever PR they're doing, it's in alignment with the brand. And so if you choose to work with a traditional publisher, you also have to think about what you're going to bring to the table in order to make your book successful as well. You don't want to leave everything to your publisher to do, because sometimes depending on how many authors they're working with, how busy their season is, you might not get the full attention that you want from them, unfortunately. And so it's really a good idea that you have your own plan to promote your book when it comes to working with a traditional publisher. One thing to keep in mind when you're working with a traditional publisher is that you are going to make money from royalties, and royalties are going to be based off of your book sales. And so traditional publishers will take on the cost of perhaps editing your book, printing your book, making sure it gets put on bookshelves, Amazon, Audible, things like that. And also, depending on your contract, helping you promote your book as well. And so all those things come at a cost. So for example, let's say they put a hardcover on your book. Let's say they do the design of your book cover. Let's say they assign you a dedicated PR team. These things are not free, and you're going to have to pay for them with a percentage of your sales from your book, right? And also cover your publisher's costs. And so you will make money after all those things have been expensed, and the income you earn from your books will be your royalty. And like I said, it depends on how many books that you sell. All these things can be negotiated with your publisher when you create your contract. And so it's really important that if you do happen to get a book deal, that you go through this contract in detail. If necessary, have a lawyer look through it with you. You can negotiate your royalties, you can negotiate your rights to the book, you can negotiate all kinds of things, promotional support, PR support, etc. And so you also want to think about what can you bring to the table as leverage when you are doing your negotiation. So for me, with Clever Girl Finance, we already had a really large audience, specifically from a social perspective, from a page view perspective on our website, and other elements. And so that was all leverage I was able to use to negotiate the book deals that I have had as well. So self-publishing, on the other hand, is very popular, and it's also an option when it comes to publishing your book. And so with self-publishing, you maintain full creative control of your book. You determine what formats your book will be sold in, and you also are able to keep more of the profits, more of the royalties in terms of your book sales, because there is no middleman, there's no middle publisher in between you and your reader when you're making those sales. However, as a self-published author, you bear the full responsibility of marketing your book. You don't have that big network that a traditional publisher would have. You may not have those PR connections a traditional publisher may have either. And so you really have to put big effort into promoting your own book to generate those sales in order to make that whole endeavor of self-publishing profitable for you. However, I will say that when it comes to publishing a book, whether you go the traditional route or the self-publishing route, it's really important to have intention for your book from the beginning. So what is the intent? What do you hope to achieve by having a published book? Is your intention to make money? Is your intention for brand awareness? Is your intention to build your audience? Is your intention to have a legacy in the form of a book? You need to know what it is, because this will help you craft the approach you take to whether you pursue traditional publishing or self-publishing, and how you go about marketing your book. So for me personally, when it came to writing my own books, the main intent behind the reason why I wrote the Clever Girl Finance books was to build awareness for the brand, to build increased credibility for myself as a finance expert, and to impact the lives of more women. And so I chose the traditional publishing route because they just had a bigger leverage in terms of expanding the reach for the books than I would be able to do on my own. So my main focus was not profits when it came to writing my books, but it was really brand awareness, audience growth, and impact. The profits, however, are nice to have, and the Clever Girl Finance book franchise in terms of profits have done really well, and I'm really excited about that. So it has been a win-win opportunity in terms of brand awareness, credibility, and also profits from my personal experience. And so like I mentioned, when it comes to pursuing traditional publishing, you always want to review your contract and negotiate it. I was able to negotiate audiobook recordings into my contract. I was able to negotiate having a dedicated PR team into my contracts. I was able to negotiate my royalties and my rights. And so it's all about considering what leverage you have to bring to the table and making sure that you negotiate. And even if you don't have a lot of leverage, let's say you haven't built an audience, you can still ask, right, in terms of what you want or what you think is fair. It's always important to ask when it comes to any contractual agreement that is put in front of you. When it comes to self-publishing, you really can just create your book and put it out there. You can use Amazon, Barnes & Noble, Lulu Press. There are many platforms that allow you to put your published work out there. You do, however, want to make sure that you're putting out a quality piece of work, because like I mentioned, your goal as an author is to get people to read your book, right? And you want to make sure that with whatever you create, you're solving the problem of the reader, and you're creating a good body of work that will make them want to share how amazing your book is and help you with your sales, your brand awareness, etc. So when it comes to pitching to a traditional publisher, how do you go about it? Well, creating a pitch requires some time, especially when it comes to crafting a really good pitch that will catch the attention of editors looking for authors, looking for books to put out there. So the first thing you want to include in your pitch is the topic overview and what your book is about. And you want to make this compelling and interesting so that whoever is reading those brief sentences about your book's topic, is really excited about this book that you're presenting to them. You also want to have a working title, and you want to create 1 to 3 options of a working title. So this is basically what the name of your book is going to be. And you want it to be a catchy and informative title so that when someone is browsing through a bookshelf or browsing on Amazon, your book catches their attention. And so in order to come up with a title, you want to lean on the topic of your book, but you can also take some time out to browse what the best-selling books online or in the bookstore are named and get some inspiration from there. Another thing you want to include in your pitch is a sample table of contents, and this is simply all the different chapters that are going to be included in your book, and this will help give an editor a visual of how your book is going to be laid out and what's going to be covered from the beginning to the end of the book. It's also a great idea to include a sample chapter. This way, whoever is reading your book pitch gets a sense of your writing style and can basically determine if you will be a good fit for their publishing house. Next, you want to include a profile of your readers. Who is going to buy your book? What is their demographic? Where do they live? What other books do they read, etc.? It's a really helpful thing to do to give the editors or the agent who is reviewing your pitch an idea of who is going to buy your book. So having that profile of your reader is really important. Are they a super niche profile? Are they a very, very broad profile of readers? You want to give perspective around your audience to your editor, to the agent, when you're presenting your book pitch. You also want to highlight if there is a demand for your book topic, and just again to give them perspective about who is going to buy your book and how popular the topic of your book is. Another good idea is to showcase the competitive titles in the marketplace around the topic you're writing about, but not just that, but also to showcase why your book is different and why your book is unique compared to everything else out there on the market. And then as another compelling factor, you want to showcase to your potential publisher your own plans to promote your book. So what are you going to do? What steps are you going to take to make sure your book is a success? And so this is something that's really good to do because it shows the publisher that you are really serious about making your book successful and you're not just handing it over to them with the expectation that they're going to do all the work on your behalf. And then another thing you may want to include in your pitch are opportunities for bulk sales. So what opportunities do you have for bulk purchases of your book? Do you do speaking? Will you be able to sell the books at events, to corporations, to schools and colleges, to nonprofit organizations? These are all really good information to put in a book pitch. And so the whole idea about having a book pitch is to create a compelling story, a compelling outline for a traditional publisher as to why your book is amazing and why it will be a success. This is the whole point of creating this pitch, to give them some insight and some perspective to this incredible body of work that you are creating or have created. So people always ask me, should I work with an agent or should I go about pitching publishers on my own? Well, it really depends. Some agents are really well connected. They can get your manuscript, they can get your pitch on the table of the deciding editor of a publishing firm very easily, right? And all you need to do is make sure you have a really, really good pitch, a really, really good sample chapter, and etc. However, when it comes to working with agents, it is not free. You're going to pay for it. It could be as a percentage of your royalties. It could be a cost up front. It really depends on the agent you work with. And agents, if you're working with an experienced agent, a good agent, they know the ins and outs of the publishing industry. They can help you negotiate your contract. They can help you get opportunities to pitch your book across multiple publishers. They could even get you really, really amazing advances and even get into a bidding war if people really love your manuscript. However, like I said, it comes at a cost. Personally, I did not work with an agent. Instead, I got my publisher's attention by virtue of what we had built with Clever Girl Finance in terms of our brand and our audience size, and I created my own pitch and submitted it over to them. And I showcased myself as a great candidate to work with when it came to publishing a book, because I was able to show demand, need for the book, and I was able to showcase how I was going to leverage my book to solve my reader's problem, and also why my book was unique in the marketplace. So if you do decide to work with an agent, you want to make sure you do your research, read reviews about them, make sure they have the experience, ask for their past track record, and make sure you have a clear understanding of what their fees are and what they're going to charge you if they get you a book deal. And so those are my few tips on how to get your book published. And when it comes to publishing a book, the route you take is totally dependent on you. Whether you choose traditional publishing or self-publishing, like I mentioned earlier, you want to make sure you have the right intent in place for your book before you start seeking which best way to publish your book. However, when it comes to publishing your book, get started and create that pitch, especially if you really know that you want to have a book, you want to hold your published book in your hands. Get started with creating that pitch, get started with writing that book, and make it a reality for yourself. So I hope you guys have enjoyed watching this video and the insights I've shared about how to get your book published, as well as my own experience. If you love watching this video, subscribe to this channel, hit the like button, tell your best girlfriends about Clever Girl Finance, and head on over to Instagram and follow us at Clever Girl Finance. Also, stop by clevergirlfinance.com. We have a ton of content on the blog, and we add new content every single day. And we have over 30 plus completely free courses, y'all, to help you as you work on improving your finances. Thank you so much for tuning in, and I will talk to you guys soon.